Hello, mate.
You alright?
Yeah, you?
Cool, yeah. Do you fancy doing a special?
Yeah, why not?
We'll do a special for a film we both loved that's turning 50 this year.
Ooh, let's see. Which film do I love that's turning 50 this year? Hmm.
On
Um,
this episode of the Deja Review, we're talking about the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I I hope not, because I haven't researched that one, mate.
Okay, on this episode of the Deja Review, we're talking about Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Uh, haven't researched that one either. Sorry.
Okay, on this episode of the Deja Review, we're talking about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I haven't seen that film for ages.
Rollerball,
Uh, I think I've got that prepped.
Escape to Witch Mountain.
No, don't like it.
So, in other words, we're going to have to talk about another film that's 50 years old, which is Jaws.
Oh, I can do that. I love that.
All right,
Brilliant. A birthday special.
I'll phone you back in a bit.
All right, mate. Speak
All
to you
right.
soon.
Bye bye.
Bye. On this anniversary bonus edition of the Deja Review, we're talking about Jaws. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
It's our birthday.
It is our birthday.
1 year we've been doing this.
Who would have believed that we're still talking to each other after 1 year?
Yeah. Without beating the crap out of each other. Yeah.
Exactly. No major arguments. It's always good.
Yeah. But we are actually recording this one remotely because I can't stand him anymore instead of being in the same room.
You smell.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Right.
the birthday idea was suggested because someone's 50 this year.
Well, I wonder who that is. Oh,
Jaws is 50 this year.
Jaws is 50.
So, yeah, the suggestion was that we do a special for one of our favourite films.
Yep. So 2 anniversaries in one. Our first anniversary and the 50th anniversary of Jaws being released.
The iconic poster, my friend.
Yes.
The poster, Roger Castell. It wasn't actually for the original book. The original book had a different picture on the front cover. So when they did the paperback version, is when Roger Castell got involved and did this iconic image for it.
Oh, I wonder what I've actually got the paperback book.
It's a white, kind of looks more like a whale than a shark. That's not even the first release of it.
No, I'm trying to see
what the hardback that had the original picture. That's still a secondary picture, but the woman swimming in that picture.
Yeah.
He was doing a painting of a woman for Good Housekeeping magazine.
Right.
And he asked her to stay back for a couple of minutes and just if she could pretend to swim, and he'll paint her because he's got an idea for another poster. So he ended up using her, pretending to swim on a stool, and then put her in the poster.
Well, I'm wondering whether because this is 8th edition print.
Yeah.
From 75, the same year as the film.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they didn't have the poster quite yet and said, this is sort of what it's going to look like. And
or
then
they didn't have the rights to the poster for that version.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then while I was looking there, I also found
Jaws the Revenge.
Jaws the Revenge, the
book,
which is the story of that is very different.
It doesn't surprise me.
There's lots of voodoo goes on in that one. But we'll talk about the sequels in a bit.
We'll talk about the sequel a bit later on as well, when we arrange for another episode to come along. Hick.
Yeah.
So, the image of the shark, Roger Castell ended up going to the American Museum of Natural History and asked them if they had any shark exhibits. And unfortunately, at that point, they were tearing a load of stuff down for cleaning.
Right.
So all the exhibit was on the ground, and it was just weird that the shark was not shark sideways on.
Yeah.
The shark was on the ground almost face up, and he saw the picture and he thought, oh, you know what, that's nice. I'll pick up that image from there. So that's where the facing up bit came from.
And it's if anything, it's pretty accurate of the way a shark attacks from underneath.
Yeah. And the image
So,
is iconic. There's so
yeah.
many rips that they've had of it over the years. You know, you can find it in pop culture, left, right, and centre.
Oh, exactly. They've done this so many times. You've even got one with an iron. You've got a picture, haven't you, of an iron, and it's called Chores instead.
But you've also got the Homer Simpson one, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah. So you've got Homer Simpson coming up from the bottom attacking Bart. You've got Shark coming up from the bottom attacking Spider-Man.
Yeah, you've got there's hundreds of images. It's just everything about this film is iconic.
Yes.
You know, even if it's one of those ones that even if you haven't seen the film, you still know. If you were shown the poster without the words above it, you'd know where it was from.
Yeah.
If you played that theme tune, again, that's been used in so many different films, TV shows, and stuff like that, where it's trying to have someone sneaking up. They've used that same 2-note piece of music over and over again, and it's just everything's iconic.
Yeah. On the beaches in Australia, they actually use the theme tune to say if there's a shark in the area to get people out of the water.
Oh, I would be walking around with my MP3 player playing that over and over again. Just Spotify walking there and
Yeah.
hoping the speakers on the beach are in Bluetooth and try and log into them.
Again, we haven't mentioned him. And the person that did the music for this film was
John Williams.
Mr. John Williams. Yeah.
And we've said it many a time that I think it must be something to do with the films that we do, or that every soundtrack or every main theme seems to be iconic.
Yes.
And you literally just have to go, dun-dun, and everybody knows exactly what that is. You need 2 notes and everyone knows what it is. And it's such a simple piece of music. Okay, there is other bits brought into it. It goes into a bit of a flair when it speeds up. But that iconic 2 notes of dun-dun is, you know what it is. How many other theme tunes or film themes can play 2 notes and you know exactly what it is?
Well, set your Casio keyboard to bagpipes. Because that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And talking of the original book, what have you got? Any information on that? How much different is it from the film?
There's a couple of bits. The reason the mayor is so insistent on keeping open is because he owns money to sort of like a mafia style organization. So that's sort of like a little bit of working in the background. That's why his motivation is for not just for we're a summer season place.
Yeah.
It's also that, you know, he owes money to some very dangerous people. And the other main difference is that Ellen Brody has a one-night fling with Hooper.
Yep.
What about you? Have you got any differences between them?
There's no Indianapolis speech.
No.
Brody's background is mentioned a hell of a lot more in the book than it is in the film.
Yeah. I think if they'd have gone into that in the film, though, it would have made the film plod a little bit. I think that's why they also cut the mafia bit out. It's sort of like
too many plot points.
Yeah, lots of plot points, but then it's like little plot points that take away from the story. I'm going to come out and say it now. This film is almost perfect for pace, everything. It's just got everything you want. It's got character development without going too heavily into the characters. There's enough there that you know enough about these characters in very simple, just sort of like small little interactions. You know enough about these characters. You know the Brodies aren't actually originally from Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
That gets done very quickly and in just small little conversation, and sometimes just in the background. It's just a brilliant piece of filmmaking.
But it could have been a hell of a lot worse in certain opinions. If the shark was working,
If the shark was working, the shark would have been on the screen a hell of a lot more. And I think in some ways the shark not working, or should we call him Bruce?
we can call him Bruce because
We
the name
can
of the
call him
episode
Bruce.
is My Name is Bruce.
Bruce wasn't doing as he was told a lot of the time. And also...
None of the Bruces.
No, none of the Bruces. And also the seawater was creating a little bit of havoc with the mechanics on them.
Because that was the problem. Everything was tested with using just normal water rather than seawater. And it was only the servos that got affected by the seawater that meant Bruce was having major problems. But on the flip side, the R&D for building something like that was reduced from the full 15 weeks to less than that. And if they'd have given the full 15 weeks to the guys, it wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah, yeah.
You know the other names that could have been classed for this book?
No, please tell.
So the original idea for the titles that Benchley had was Silence in the Water, Silence of the Deep, Leviathan Rising, and the other one, which was The Jaws of Death. They were the original titles for the book.
Yeah, I don't. The only one, Jaws of Death, is probably the only one I would say would actually work for this.
And pretty much it is this reduced down, just taking one word out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I do like Leviathan Rising, though.
No,
It just doesn't explain the film, though. Or
no, exactly.
Explain the book, should we say?
And Leviathan, you think of sort of like a mythical creature as well with Leviathan instead of a shock. And like the Silence Rising or whatever, Silence Rising from the
Silence of the Deep.
Yeah. To me, that just submarine springs to mind.
Mm.
You know, the way submarines run silent, run deep. But yeah, none of those sort of like, I think Jaws, it's just so simple.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, it's got everything you need there.
Oh, agreed. And Benchley obviously had a cameo in the film.
Yes. Yes. He was the interviewer on the beach.
Yep. The Benchley cameo, do you know how that came about?
No.
He was actually a news reporter for the Washington Post.
Right.
Before writing the book. So it was just second nature to him to be that character.
Yeah.
There's a lot of behind the scenes people that got roles in the film. So
yeah.
The direct cameo.
Yeah. He plays the Point Life Station, the voice you hear when they're contacting him. And they're saying it. I think it's the one that says, "Oh, there's a phone call from Ellen Brody."
Yeah, Mrs. Brody.
And it's trying to get and it's then Quint answers. That voice is Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. Even Carl Gottlieb had a cameo in this film. He played Meadows.
Oh, right.
Which is the guy who's on the boat when they're crossing over with the mayor and Brody.
Yeah, yeah. All the businessmen, or part of the town council, aren't they?
That's the one.
Yeah.
This was one of the first films that had on set CB radios. Nowadays it's just quite the norm that you get people wandering around with radios mic'd up, listening to what's going on, all the information in the background. This was one of the first films that Dreyfuss worked on that had that. And 9 times out of 10, all he kept hearing first thing in the morning was, "The shark is not working." So,
yeah, I think the shark not working really, I think that's what did it. There was supposed to be a lot more jump scares.
Yeah.
With the shark.
Well, the shark doesn't appear until an hour and 21 into the film.
Yeah. Which is, well, you see little bits like when he gets Alex Kintner.
Yeah.
You just sort of like see a tail flapping and a fin, don't you?
Yeah.
But he was supposed to appear a lot earlier. That's why you get the jump scare with Ben Gardner's head.
Yes.
That was added in after because he felt like there wasn't enough jumps. Really, the only jump scare you had was when Brody's chum in the waters.
Yeah.
And then the shark comes out, and then you've got the iconic line of needing a bigger boat.
Which was all ad lib. That was not
exactly
in the original at all. So that was straight from Roy Scheider.
But then Spielberg added the Ben Gardner head coming out of which worked really well.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant jump scare, but then the thing is, everyone was waiting for more jump scares. So the main jump scare with the shark
didn't get the
reaction he wanted to. And he went, right, that's it. From now on, I'm just doing one jump scare per movie. He's decided that's all he's doing now.
Well, they got round not having the shark working in a few ways. So Quint's barrels being one of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Without those barrels, it would have been a weird scenario of not actually having anything going on in that water for quite a while.
Yeah. And the same with the music.
Yeah.
The music represented the shark.
Where did they film it, Trev?
Martha's Vineyard.
Correct. What do you know about Martha's Vineyard?
It's in America. It's in that there America.
I think at the end of the day, if you and I both had chance to go to Martha's Vineyard, we would.
Yeah, not because it's somewhere we want to visit specifically, but we would go there and try and find like the wall into the pond.
Yeah.
Just sort of like locations. We would go for the locations and nothing else.
So we'd go for things like the dockyards and
yeah.
They did have a washed up version of the Orca there at one point.
All right.
But people like us were going there and just nicking bits off of the boat.
Yeah.
So it turned out that they just decided to get rid of it because there was too many people stealing stuff. So other castings. Do you know who else was up for the roles?
No, go for it, mate.
Okay. Who would you say at that time would have been up for the role of Hooper?
Hooper. So youngsters around about the 70s. No, go for it. Tell me who.
Before Dreyfus, Spielberg approached Jon Voight and Timothy Bottoms.
Who?
Exactly, that's my thoughts as well.
Yeah.
And Jeff Bridges.
I can see Jeff Bridges doing it.
Jeff Bridges doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely see Jeff Bridges doing it.
So, Quint, who would you say first and second suggestion for Quint was?
Well, I think there was a few. Didn't Spielberg already have Robert Shaw in mind?
No.
But it was the studio who wanted somebody else. Go on then. Who was it?
So, Quint, first and second suggestion. Lee Marvin.
Yeah, I can sort of see that.
And Sterling Hayden.
Who? I've got to search him up now on IMDb.
You've got to search Timothy Bottoms and Sterling Hayden.
Sterling Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't recognise him at all. Oh, he was in The Godfather and The Long Goodbye. No, don't know him at all.
Right, so Timothy Bottoms.
Timothy Bottoms. Let's have a look for him then. Timothy. No, don't recognise him at all. No. I'm not even sure I recognise any films that he's done. The Last Picture Show is probably the only film of his I know. Well, I've looked at both of their pictures and gone, no, don't recognise them at all.
I don't recognise either of them anyway. So yes, those were the original casting. So did you notice anything actually in the film itself that kind of stuck out to you?
Yeah, a couple of things.
Go on then.
Right, number one, so after the attack in the pond, they call it, the boating lake, and then Michael's taken to hospital.
Yeah.
And he's what? He's only a kid in this, yeah?
Yeah.
And she says, what does he want? Does he want some toys? And he goes, yeah, I want my cars. Fine. Little kid. Yeah. Everybody wants cars. And then, do you want ice cream? Yeah. Coffee. What child likes coffee ice cream? Come on. I don't like coffee ice cream. It's just weird. What child likes coffee ice cream?
Yeah, I did think that was weird, but then it's not as weird as the next thing that happened.
Which is?
Smoking in the hospital.
Yeah, but that is of its time, really, isn't it?
There was so much smoking in that hospital. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, my
Well,
other
go,
take.
come.
Go on. No,
No,
you
no,
go.
no, no. You first.
No, my other takeaway from this is don't get stone drunk and go swimming.
No, exactly.
Whether there's a shark in the water or not, just
No.
don't do it.
Well, that whole incident there was using a lot of elbow grease, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they had a rope tied to the stunt woman, and they were pulling her left and right, and not knowing when she was actually going to be pulled. So that all those reactions were quite true reactions.
Yeah. Yeah, she was not sure. They didn't tell. They wanted it to look as natural as possible.
Yeah.
And a couple of times she did almost struggle to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
She was really, she got pulled under and was really struggling to get back up.
Yeah.
And we only lost her recently. She only died a couple of years ago. But yeah, she's not really done anything else, but she'll always be known as Chrissy.
Yeah.
But not from really anything else.
Right. Have we got any beach closed signs? No. Right? So Brody goes where? He goes to the hardware store, picks up paintbrushes, picks up paint, picks up boards, picks up some sticks, ready for them to kind of create these brand new posters.
Yeah.
So at the point where they're actually putting the posters into the ground, have you noticed how knackered the signs are already?
No.
The whole tops of all of these signs have actually got imprints on it where the hammer's missed the stake. So it's not brand new signs, they're all reused signs.
Yeah, but it's not that. If you think about it, Hendrix is a little bit useless.
Yes.
So I wouldn't put it past him to keep hitting the top of the stake to actually keep smacking the sign with the hammer anyway.
Yeah, but that's if you go rewatch that film, the whole of the top of those signs are completely knackered.
Yeah.
The first time they're put in there. Did you know that Spielberg didn't actually direct the last scene of the movie?
No.
That scene was supposed to be filmed in the evening. They lost light. They couldn't do fast photography to get slow motion out of it because the light was being lost. So they reshot it first thing in the morning. That night, Steven Spielberg got a plane. He just got out of there, got a plane, disappeared because he knew that they were going to throw him in the sea.
Right.
And the person that was on the plane with him on the way back was Dreyfuss. And Dreyfuss says, "How did the last shooting go?" And Spielberg said to him, "I don't know. It's being filmed now while we're in flight." And that was the reason he gave. And since then, he has never filmed the last scene of his films.
Oh,
it's
right.
always someone else that's filmed that last scene.
Nice.
Mm.
So normally I'll do the kill count.
Yeah.
But it's a bit hard to do for this film.
Okay.
Because not 100% certain of how many people die.
Well, how many people were on the boat with a head, for starters?
That's my point. So you have Chrissy, the girl at the beginning, the swimmer. You have Pippet.
Yep.
The little doggy. Then you have Alex Kintner.
Did Pippet die?
Well, you don't see him again. Pippet dies. Pippet the doggy is dead.
Okay.
He was.
We talk human casualties here.
Sorry, that was someone's baby. Then you've got Alex Kintner.
Yep.
Then they find Ben Gardner's boat.
Yep.
But when you see Ben Gardner go out earlier on, he's got two other people with him. So did they die? No, there's been no mention of them at all.
No.
But there's no mention of them in the film either. disappearing. When they're trying to find stuff, they're only going on about Alex Kintner. That's because that piece was added in after, wasn't it?
Yes.
So that's why they don't mention about Ben Gardner dying, because in the original cut, Ben Gardner didn't die.
No, he didn't.
So, yeah, and if you've got his 2 crewmen who he was with, or the 2 people you see with him, then that could be another 3. Then obviously you've got the guy in the pond, Quint, and then Paul Bruce.
Yeah. Well, Lee Fiera, who was Mrs. Kidner,
Yeah.
she...
Are you going to say the seafood restaurant?
No. She had, I can say the seafood restaurant in a bit, but yeah, she had special requests from a lot of fans that came to see her at conventions and things like that.
I know. They all wanted to get slapped, didn't
Exactly. Yeah, they all wanted to be slapped by her.
they? Yeah.
And she said only in the last, I think the last decade or so that she stopped doing it because she just thought, no, I'm not doing it anymore.
Chief Brody?
Yes?
And the seafood restaurant story we're saying is that she turned up at a restaurant, I think it was about 20 years after.
Yeah.
And on one of the, which is, if it hadn't have worked out the way it is, it would have been quite tasteless.
Yeah.
But it was the Alex Kintner special.
Yeah.
And she told one of the waitresses, "Oh, I played Alex Kintner's mum in Jaws." And she went, "Oh, hang on a minute." Went out, and the guy who played Alex Kintner came out. He actually owned the restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's the first time they'd seen each other since the filming of Jaws.
Yeah.
And it was like 20 odd years later. And they said it was a lovely little moment and pure coincidence that she walked into that one particular restaurant that he owned.
Yeah. But she's a Martha Vineyard local resident.
Yeah.
She was actually just I think she was a drama school teacher there.
A lot of the background actors were Martha Vineyard townsfolk.
Yeah.
Because they were even saying that one of I think it's the old boy who's helping
Robert Shaw.
He gave them loads of advice about sharks, about boating and things like that they said was
he was a real life Quint.
Yeah, pretty much. But they said the film wouldn't have been as good as it was without his input.
Yeah.
And then he never even got a thank you credit in the film at all.
No, but he did pop up on screen a couple of times.
Yeah.
Mostly in the background, tying knots and things like that.
Exactly. I think it was his Quint's shed or
Yes.
Quint's boatyard part was actually his.
Yep.
Way up over the beach.
Now, Killer Shark arcade game.
Yep.
It's rare as rocking horse shit.
Yes. I remember having a go. It was so hard, that game. Okay, I was only a kid when it was out, but I remember having a go at that, and it's so hard.
Yeah. But it was one of the first early arcade cabinets.
Yeah. Right, I've got a question for you.
Go on, Em.
Who's the real villain in this?
Who's the real villain in this?
Is it the shark? Or is it all the officials who want to keep the beaches open?
I
The
think
shark is just doing what sharks do.
it's got no malice against anyone. It's just going, all food.
It's just doing its
Yeah.
normal job. It's everyday run-of-the-mill job. So who are the bad guys in this? I say it's the town officials.
It's not only the town officials, it's the hunters.
Well, again, they're just they've been,
Paid.
yeah, they're after a reward. They're after the big fish. They're after the fame of catching this. Well, they don't even know it's a big shark. They just know there's been a shark attack.
Yeah.
They don't realise it's an oversized shark.
An
You
oversized
only,
white shark, yeah.
yeah. And other people have only got inklings of the size of it. It's just sort of like, it's when Hooper gets there, it's the bite radius he sees from the boat. And Quint's got sort of like an idea that it's a big shark.
Yeah.
But apart from that, they just think it's a normal shark. They don't even know what shark is what, because when they actually catch one, it's a tiger shark, and they all go,
Yeah.
"A what?" They're just literally after the money or after the fame.
Yeah, they're none the wiser as to what type of shark there is they're after.
No, exactly. So they're literally just doing their job as well. They're sort of like, right, let's go hunt this. They're not really being bad guys in it. I think the bad guys in this film, everything could have been, you think, you take away that shark's food, it's going to go looking elsewhere for it.
Yeah, move down the beach a bit further.
You keep leaving people in the water,
Yeah.
then it's got a food source. So
Oh,
it's
exactly.
just going to carry on what it's doing.
Yeah. But again, if you take back the original scenario from the book, the reason why he's being kept open, and then take back that it's the local shopkeepers association that are keeping him open because of the time of year, it's not even the mayor's fault.
Well, it is because it says about the shops closing.
Yeah.
Or Brody says about it, doesn't he? He says we're closing the beach.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh no, which is fair enough when you're working, when your livelihood relies on
tourist
summer dollars, as they call it, and tourism. And this has got to be one of your July the 4th weekend has got to be one of your biggest money earners.
Mm-hmm.
But then it is the mayor that goes, only for one day, and he actually says we never agreed on that. And it's like he's going above and beyond everybody else, because all he's thinking of, he just wants to keep being re-elected because he's probably getting backhanders left, right, and centre.
Yeah. Interesting way of looking at things.
Mm.
So, do you also think that this is the best Old Spice advert ever?
Yeah, if you don't want to smell a decomposing body, splash some Old Spice on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Insert whistling theme tune here. So, yeah. Right, what else you got for me, buddy?
I haven't actually got loads on my list. Only how much Scheider was paid.
Okay, go on then.
Well, Scheider was paid $100,000 for this, which, you know, isn't too bad a payday. But he was paid 4 times more than that for the sequel.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
He wanted out after the sequel and after the original film anyway.
Yeah, he wasn't impressed. They tried to get Hooper back as well for the sequel, but Dreyfuss I think he was tied into another film by that point.
Mm-hmm.
So they make a quick mention in Jaws 2 that he's on that research vessel.
Yeah.
The one he mentions in this film, and he's out of reach. It's not like nowadays where, you know, satellite phones or whatever, you nice and easy to be able to reach anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, there's only a couple of people who come back. The housekeeper, she's back. Hendricks, he's back. Although he has a different first name in the original film to Jaws 2.
Yeah.
And obviously both the Brodies, but it's different people playing their children. And really, I think for all 4 films, there's only 2 people who've been in 3 of them.
Lorraine Gary.
She's one of the ones that was in 3 of the 4, and the other one is the woman who plays the housekeeper.
Okay. As far as she came back for the 4th one, then.
Well, I think was it because her husband was something to do with, wasn't he a film exec or something like that,
Yeah.
who had something to do with these films, and I think he brought her back for the fourth one. I think he was linked into the fourth film, and that's why he brought her back.
I can't even remember how Brody goes out of it.
Well, all you see in the fourth one is that he's actually dead. I think they hint that he had a heart attack at some point and died. He's not really mentioned much at all in the third one, because that's based around Michael, isn't it?
Yeah.
He works at
Well, it's based on both of the brothers.
Are they both in there?
Yeah, both in there.
Yeah. Because, but it's Dennis Quaid, isn't it? Who's Michael in that one. And it's based at like some SeaWorld type place, isn't it? New SeaWorld park. Yeah, there is. Sean Brody is in there.
Yeah,
I think Michael works there, and Sean goes to visit him or something like that, and he ends up falling in love with one of the girls there. So he ends up getting him a job, or he goes and visits there, and he ends up doing something there, doesn't he, Sean?
Mm. But it's quite an interesting cast, that film.
Yeah, it's just a shame the film's not that great.
No.
And bearing in mind that the first two films, it's all practical effects.
Yeah.
And the third one, the really bad digital 3D effects. Yeah.
That was
I like the way they've stopped calling it Jaws 3D now. They just call it Jaws 3.
Have you seen the 4K rip of it?
No.
It suffers from the problem that a lot of 4Ks have got now, where 4K is being analysed by AI to upscale it, and it's getting these really disfigured people in the background. In crowd scenes, it just kind of wonky eyes and, noses that aren't even where noses should be.
And if anything, I'd imagine the sharks look even worse. They look bad enough on a normal edit that you can tell it's been superimposed on top.
Yeah.
So imagine when they crisp it up, it looks even worse.
Well, they've done 4K for Jaws 3 and 4 recently.
Right.
So, yeah, talking about Jaws 4, The Revenge.
The Revenge. Mm-hmm.
With Mr. Michael Caine.
Yes. I do think we should do that as one of our awful films one day.
Yeah, the drunk episode. That's what we've always said.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But also...
But if you think this film, it spawned a load of similar-ish type films.
Sharksploitation movies.
Well, it wasn't just sharks, was it? It was, you had Grizzly.
Yep.
Alligator.
Yep.
Piranha, obviously, and Piranha 2.
Python.
Orca.
Yeah. Anaconda.
Yeah, there was, in the 70s, they made loads of them. And if you think about it, they're still doing them now.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of something, well, even recently, Cocaine Bear.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Even though that is sort of slightly based on a true story.
Yes.
I'm wondering how long it'll be before they have Cocaine Shark.
Or Bear Tornado.
Yeah. Oh, dear me. Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say about other films that are spoofed off or created off of Jaws. So you've obviously got Deep Blue Sea as well.
Yeah. And going back a little bit, or a little bit further along, I should say, you've got Leviathan.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, even things like The Thing, Aliens and stuff like that, it's the same sort of premise.
Yeah.
Okay, so I set you a challenge before this. So normally, because we do two films, we normally compare the two films.
Yeah.
This hasn't been remade.
Yeah.
And I hope it doesn't.
No, I agree, actually. I think, I don't know. Going back to the original source material, maybe?
Maybe. So what I challenged Mark with was, if it was remade today, who would you cast in the main roles? So I've said Quint, Brody, Ellen Brody, Matt Hooper, and the Mayor.
Yep.
And I've done it as well.
Yep.
So, Mark, who do you want to start off with? You give me your one, and then I'll go for my character from that.
Okay, I would like to leave Quint till last.
Okay, let's leave Quint till last. Yep.
Okay, so let's
start with Brody.
Let's start with Brody.
Yep.
Fassbender.
Okay, I see that.
I think he would play a very, very good Brody.
Yeah.
I think he's got all the elements to be a believable character in there as well.
Okay.
So, who would you have?
I've gone for Chris Evans.
What, the ginger bloke from...
Not the one from
Toothbrush.
Big Breakfast, which will mean absolutely nothing to our American audience. But no, I think Chris Evans. You need a big name. You need a big name draw. I think you need someone who's of a certain age that he can be a sheriff and have children of a certain age. I kept going between many different people, as I said to you off air.
Yeah.
I kept going between different people, but then it was trying to find people who would work well together. So, yeah, I went Chris Evans.
Fair enough.
So what about your Ellen Brody, his wife?
Now, Ellen Brody, I found this being an interesting one, and the person who I think would play very, very good Ellen Brody is Tricia Helfer.
Okay, I get that.
From
Okay.
Battlestar Galactica, Lucifer, and various other shows.
Yeah, I get that.
I think she'd play a good Ellen Brody. How's yours?
I've stuck with the MCU.
Oh, God. Okay.
So I've gone ScarJo.
Funny enough, I thought you might go for Scarlet. Yeah.
I did flick between her and Ana de Armas.
Okay, yeah.
But even though she's in her 30s, I still think she looks younger than she is. So I know she's worked with Chris Evans a couple of times before.
Yeah.
But I thought it's not a massive role.
Yep.
So I thought, it might be something that Scarlett Johansson would do quite well.
Another film that she's probably got the same amount of screen time in would be Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, true.
I think both those characters are in it for that same length of time, if it's technicality. So, okay, who would you do as Hooper?
Right, so my Hooper, again, I flicked backwards and forwards, but I'm also going on the novel.
Okay.
So in the novel, Hooper has a one-night affair fling with Ellen Brody.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's got to be someone who's reasonably attractive.
Okay.
But who would also find her attractive, which is why I went for Scarlett Johansson.
Okay.
Because of the same thing. So I've gone for Glenn Powell.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
He's young enough that he would be a research specialist, so he's done all of that. But he's good looking enough that a woman would want to have an affair with him.
Yep.
And he's a really good actor. He's a good fun actor. I think he'd bounce really well off a not antagonist, but someone, a Quint character.
Yeah.
He would bounce well off of that.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Daniel Radcliffe.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not a fan.
No, I think, one of the best films I think he's done, other than outside the Harry Potters, is Guns Akimbo. And, Weird Al as well. I think those are two fantastic films. Swiss Army Man, he is a damn good actor, and he's a damn good character actor, and I think he'd play Hooper really well.
I think my one is that I wouldn't be able to take him seriously.
Okay.
As a serious, marine biologist who would stand up to a Quint character. I just don't see. That's just me.
Fair enough.
Right, your role of the Mayor.
Right, my role of the Mayor. I think this one was a very, very difficult one for me, but as soon as I thought about it and I went, you know what? Yeah. So Mayor Vaughn,
Yep.
Vince Vaughn.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. I see
think
that.
he can play both types of the character, the very, very, struggled character, and also the boisterous, mayor who goes off and says, no, we're only going to close for one day, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
I see Vince Vaughn very well in that character.
And I've gone for the person I've picked for the same sort of reasons.
Okay, go on.
And I've gone back to the MCU again.
Oh, God. Okay.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can see it from his role in
He
RoboCop.
plays Smarm really well.
Yeah.
He plays someone who it's his way or no way.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's not a massive role, but he doesn't do massive roles. He loves popping up in cameos all the time. And I think he'd do really well at it.
Fair enough. Right, so who's your Quint then?
Okay, so I kept flipping between two.
I'm sticking with two. I can't separate these two.
Right, okay.
So if you want to do two people, more than welcome.
I told you my original one, which was the first one that popped into my head, which was J.K. Simmons.
Yep.
And I think he'd be brilliant at it. He plays Grizzled really well. But I did want to deflect from the MCU a little bit, although this person has been in the MCU as well.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So my Quint, the one I've finally decided on,
okay,
Willem Dafoe. Yeah, he looks like a hardened. You think of him from The Lighthouse.
Yep.
He just looks like a hardened. I can see him looking grizzled. That he's been out in the boat all the time. And so I've gone for Willem Dafoe.
Fair enough.
What about yourself?
Again, I have two people for this because I can't separate them, and one will refuse to do it, and the other one will just take over. That's
right.
the plan in this one.
Go on then. Who have you picked?
My two people, and you'll tell straight away why. Actually, I think you'll understand completely. So my two people are Mel Gibson and Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
As long as Kurt Russell doesn't do his Captain Ron moment.
Yeah. And I'm not sure I'd want to be stranded on a boat with Mel Gibson because he is slightly psychotic, as we've discussed in other episodes of him.
But I think both of those people would do a damn good job as Quint. And the age difference is what I was going for as well.
Yeah, yeah. I could see Kurt Russell doing it.
Yeah.
The thing with Mel Gibson is it'd actually be quite similar to the original where, no, I want to be the biggest star.
Yeah. Pissing everyone off on
Mel
set.
Gibson would piss everybody off. Yeah, exactly. Right. So we've got the remake made.
Okay, we've got the remake bug going.
And you set me a challenge.
I set you a challenge as well.
Go on then.
Right, so the challenge I set was if Jaws was remade as a Muppet movie.
Right.
A la Christmas Carol. So we'll see what happens.
You said no
live action person in this film. Yeah.
So it is
at least as the lead. You can have live action as background cast and everything else like that, but the lead characters have to be Muppets or something created by Jim Henson as a caveat for you, Trevor.
Yep. Okay, good, because
I've got that does involve the Muppets, that involves Sesame Street, that involves all of those type of characters. So go for it. Same order as last time. Brody first.
Right, my Brody, I was going to have one, and now I've changed it to the other. So my Brody is Elmo.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay, so
go on.
Because I could just picture Elmo going, "We're going to need a bigger boat." Sorry, that was awful. Sorry, it was an awful. Elmo need a bigger boat. There we go. That one's slightly better. Right, go on then. Who's your Brody?
I've gone old school, so it's going to be Kermit.
Okay.
Yeah, Kermit is Brody.
That Kermit was going to be my Brody. but I'll explain why he's not in a minute.
Okay, got him.
So my Ellen Brody
Yep,
is Miss Piggy.
yep, the snap.
Yep. Okay.
That was kind of obvious. The only
Yes.
other suggestion is whatever her name is from the band.
Oh yes, I know the one you mean. Yep.
Yep.
But see, I'd have her as the swimmer at the beginning.
Oh,
Blonde-haired
good
swimmer.
choice. I like that one.
As
actually.
Prissy.
Yep, that's- yep,
Okay, so my Hooper
yep.
is Kermit
Okay.
because then Miss Piggy would have an affair with him, like the book.
Worryingly, mine's Gonzo. I
Oh,
was
dear.
just thinking the expression on his face when he's underwater and the shark's coming towards him.
So who we got next? The mayor.
The mayor. My mayor, Fozzie.
So my mayor's a dual role.
Okay.
Yeah. I've gone Statler and Waldorf.
I like that
They'd
one.
be perfect. They're
Yep.
just the way they criticise everything.
Yep.
It's perfect for him.
Perfect. I like that one. So
Okay, who have you gone for?
for the mayor, I said Fozzie.
Okay.
Yeah, Fozzie is the mayor.
I don't think anybody would listen to him if they
Exactly.
say no. Yeah. All right then.
The
Quinn.
big one. Who are you going for, Quinn?
Oscar the Bin Man.
Okay, I guess you go for the Oscar the Bin Man from Sesame Street.
Yeah.
That's why you asked about the caveat for Sesame Street.
No, that was for Elmo.
I've gone for Animal.
I can see that. I did think of that one, but I thought it was too obvious.
No.
And
no.
also, it's quite a big speaking role, and he doesn't exactly speak a lot,
Exactly.
does he?
Exactly.
But yeah, I thought Oscar the Bin Man. You stick a little cap on him and a shirt, and he wouldn't look a lot different from Robert Shaw.
Saying Robert Shaw, the shark is broken. Have you seen that the Robert Shaw's son has now finished his run as Robert Shaw in it?
No.
Yep. So he's moved on to do other bits. Obviously, he was the guy who created it and wrote it as well. So now it's a full cast of all new characters, all new actors.
Right.
So I wouldn't mind giving that a go at some point.
Yes. Right. Have we got much more to talk about?
No, I think that's it, mate.
I think so.
That's it for our special episode.
Our bonus anniversary, birthday, stroke, whatever
50th,
else you want to call it, episode.
50th anniversary.
Yep.
Just us chatting shit about a decent film that we like.
Yeah, exactly. And if there's a film you want us to review, let us know and we'll maybe do it. Doesn't have to be a remake one, and we might do the odd bonus episode now and again.
Exactly. So, bit of a strange one, not being in the same room.
Yeah, it's
Kind of a weird lockdown moment.
Yeah, I actually quite like it.
I don't know, I'm 50-50 because I keep staring at you usually, and it's just weird not having you actually sitting next to me. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy.
And thanks for listening. I'm Mark.
And I'm Trev.
Enjoy yourselves.
Please remember to follow, like and subscribe. Where can they get hold of us, Trev?
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Just go to @TheDejaReview or contact us via our email, which is thedejareview@gmail.com.